Gabba the game night, Gabba the game night, Gabba the game night, yay!
Hey guys, Gabba Game Night here, and I'm playing some more Stranger Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. And we're going in this next level.
Isn't it Final Fantasy Origin Stranger Paradise?
No, it's Stranger Paradise, Final Fantasy
Oh,
Origin.
I flipped it backwards this time, I'm sorry.
Fool's Missive 35. That's 35 these things?
Terra Tortura. They call this place a facility. A facility. Ha! It's like calling a planet a rock. Accurate, yes, but it does not do it justice. An island, a massive continent. It was chosen this time for the vast stores of quasi-magical energy stored here. In Dimension 6, where legends of this land still linger, it is a harbinger of the end times. Likely as not, the energy lying untapped here has something to do with that. Though the sum total of darkness grows even greater, if you, my dear friend, can make it here, perhaps... Wait, let me... Oh, now let's do that part over.
I apologize.
I've ruined everything now.
I try and get through that second because the place didn't get too loud if it lingered on those too long.
So we're going to, like, the Magitech facility in Final Fantasy
No,
VI?
I think there's the flowing continent. Look at this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The Fenians sent me here.
Makes sense.
Why? What are they trying to accomplish? And where did this desperate urge to eradicate chaos come from?
Jack, if this is what we think it is, if this really came from our homeland, from Euphenia, then they must already know what's going on here.
Astos. He's not just monitoring and recording the status of the darkness. He's reporting back to his superiors. Let's kill these monsters and pry some answers out of them.
So the Athenians weren't trying to kill chaos with the capital C, they were just trying to defeat chaos as, like, the concept of chaos.
I guess.
Just eliminate chaos from their world.
But isn't chaos a manifestation of chaos?
I think maybe that's how it's going to turn out.
Justice Causeway. Yeah, I'd say there's the flowing continent.
Yeah, you're right, Okay. Goodness, don't have to rub it in.
Save us time. Let's go.
That's called the Jester's thing because Kafka, I assume.
Let's be quick.
Time to go to work.
I don't like these freaking Black Widows. They take too much to freaking kill and they got webs and stuff.
Forge ahead.
Ow!
Those who sent us here are afraid of this world reconnecting back to their own.
Okay, there's like a whole filter on the screen right now in this area.
Are you two talking about the Lions?
What do you mean?
Just the colors and everything was off. Oh god, that...
Is that a mind flare? It is a mind flare.
It's funny, the Pisco demons in this game look more like the Mind Flayers than the original, and the Mind Flayers look more like the Pisco demons. I'm dead? I mean, I was fighting a Mind Flayer. Mind Flayers do have the tendency to
Mind flare.
I mean, I have all the things to keep in the original, the insta-kill is not what I would keep. That's the number one thing I would get rid of, actually. Mind Flayers can, I believe, technically insta-kill you in D&D. If they manage to eat your brain. But they have to manage to do it. Okay, why did I just explode?
So should I pick the trivia back up?
That's all of them.
Sure.
Let's do better next time. Where do you think we've been?
Alright, continuing our Final Fantasy trivia from the last episode. In honor of the 35th anniversary of the release of the original game in this series on the Famicom. That's the Japanese NES.
Wow, I love the Japanese NES.
Technically the precursor to the
Oh, no.
NES, but
Ow,
technically the
ow,
NES is the
ow.
American Famicom, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm dying a lot because I'm playing as.
Should we? Let's review all the trivia from the last episode in rapid fire. What do you think? No. No, go back and watch that video if you want to hear that trivia. This is all in the guise of Did You Know, so these all technically end in question marks. I don't have as much left, but we'll give what we got. What was the last one we did on the last episode? The Saga ones? Oh no, the Magic Elements. Yeah. Okay, did you know that the Mana series was born from Final Fantasy Adventure, which in Japan was the first installment of Seiken Densetsu?
Neat. What's Seiken Densetsu?
The game series whose first installment was Final Fantasy Adventure on Game Boy.
Ah, of course.
Did you know that the world of Ivalice spans beyond the scope of Final Fantasy XII, including such influential spin-off series such as Tactics and Vagrant Story?
Wow.
And that Vagrant Story is the only non-Final Fantasy title to be an official part of Ivalice lore? I don't even know who Ivalice is.
I think it's kind of like the world or whatever that...
Oh, it's not a person?
I don't think so.
Wow. Well, clearly I don't know what it is. Did you know that Vagrant Story was only the first half of its own story named as The Phantom Pain, and that its remaining content was cut and meant to be a sequel that never saw the light of day?
Neat.
Did you know Final Fantasy was meant to be Hironobu Sakaguchi's all-or-nothing project, and that if he failed, he was going to quit the games industry? I mean, I've heard different versions of that story often. I think they're a bit apocryphal, but, you know, they call it Final Fantasy because this was their last gasp.
But then I've also heard that it's called Final Fantasy.
I'm not sure how true any of those are,
Fighting Fantasy, but Fighting Fantasy was taken or whatever, so they don't want another thing that started with F.
It's still a cool. It's still a cool name, regardless of the origin.
That's mindful. It sucks.
Okay.
Literally, he sucks my brain. Can I move, please?
Did you know the traditional turn-based battle system created by Akitoshi Kawazu and Hiroyuki Ito drew inspiration from professional sports, from the formation setups of American football to Formula One racing? That seems a little sus, because it's not like Final Fantasy was the first game to do a turn-based battle system.
Yeah, D&D did it first.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even the first video game to do turn-based battles.
Yeah.
Did you know that Final Fantasy IV The After Years sucked? No, I'm just kidding. I barely played it. Final Fantasy IV The After Years creation was inspired by an earlier work of Takashi Tokita's in Square's Live Alive. Hey, speaking of Live Alive, we're playing that over on VideoC. Oh, we should be by the time this video... We'll be close to it. It might not come out by the time this video goes up, but that's going to be our next big series on VideoC. YouTube.com/VideoCTV, and we're also going to stream it over at Twitch.tv/VideoC, so you can check out the live streams and then check out the VODs over on YouTube. Let's see. Final Fantasy 15 is the second entry in the main series that started development as a spin-off title. Do you know what the first one was?
No, I don't.
Final Fantasy 9.
Neat.
Oh, here we go. The Final Fantasy series was originally given the title Fighting Fantasy. So that even seems to contradict... Well, I mean, not completely. It doesn't say he named it Final... It could still be like, hey, this is our last gasp, or I'm going to quit if this doesn't work, or whatever. Whether it inspired the name or not. Yeah. Both things could be true. They're not mutually exclusive. Dude, there's a Stardew Valley game playing in the background on one of my monitors, and I just want to go play some Stardew Valley now.
Stardew Valley is good.
But it's good if you're playing co-op. And it's still a great game, but I cannot get nearly as into it by myself. I think that's part of the reason I didn't like Harvest Moon when it came out, because I was playing... I mean, I don't think you could play Harvest Moon 2 players, but I was playing all by myself, and it's like, eh.
Yeah.
Because as great as this game is, and as neat as everything in it is, I can't see myself just doing it by myself. I'm like, hey, I'm running my farm, and I'm meeting people, and okay, yeah, I'm moving on to something else. Where's Final Fantasy?
I know whenever I played Stardew by myself, the absolute furthest I got was, I think, Winter of Year 1.
Yeah.
And I never really got into a relationship with any of the NPCs. Now me and Maddie are playing, and we're already in Spring of Year 2, and both me and him are married.
Yeah, we got married on the same day.
The day before Spirit's Eve, or Halloween.
Anyway, back to Final Fantasy trivia. Would you like some character facts?
Sure. Oh, I fell off the cliff.
And this first one connects directly to this game, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
It doesn't reference this game, because I think this list was before this game. But Sarah is a recurring name for princesses in the series.
Neat.
This says Sid of the Lufane was not present in the original version of Final Fantasy, making it the only main series Final Fantasy game not to have a Sid character. I guess in some of the later remakes of Final Fantasy, there's a character named Sid of the Lufane. Because I know there's Sids in most Final Fantasies, but I've never heard that full title, Sid of the Lufane.
Yeah, me neither.
Which again, I assume perhaps that's a connection to the Lufanation, but also connect to the game we're playing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's another Sid. Sid Polendina was the first playable Sid character in the series. I don't know which game he's from. I know there's a playable Sid in Final Fantasy IV. I don't think we play... I know there's a Sid in Final Fantasy III, but I don't remember playing as him.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if there was a... Maybe that one of the guest characters was Sid in Final Fantasy II. Hold on, let me click on it. Let's see.
Wasn't Final Fantasy II the first Sid, or was Final Fantasy II the first Sid?
I'm not sure. But yeah, this is Sid from Final Fantasy IV, so that's the first playable Sid. Let's see. Ferris... What's the last name? Ferris Sherwiz was originally planned as a gambler-type character, and after being changed into a pirate instead, her early concept was used as inspiration for the character Setzer Gabiani. Aerith Gainsborough has had the most voice actors of any character in the series. That's surprising, because there's no voice acting in the original Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, but there's a lot.
I know there's the remake, and there's Advent Children.
Remake, movie. There's even an anime thing.
Oh, she's probably in the Kingdom Hearts games as well,
Yeah.
isn't she?
And it's like a different voice actor for everyone.
Aerith Gainsborough's first name was spelled Eris with an S in Final Fantasy VII. At least the American version. I don't think that's true in the Japanese version, is it?
No.
Pretty sure it's Aerith in Japanese. And I think that comes from the like pronunciation in Japanese versus U.S. English.
Yeah.
Tara Branford is the first female main protagonist in the main series. Again, that's debatable, because, I mean, of any Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy VI definitely is the most of an ensemble cast.
Isn't it weird how you hear so many complaints about Aerith being Aerith in the American Final Fantasy VII, but you never hear anything about any other characters' names that are changed?
Yeah, just people being pretentious. And Final Fantasy VII is just a very popular game in the series, so...
Botch was Botch.
And obviously she's a very popular character.
Terra was like Lena or something.
Zidane Tribal is the first protagonist in the series to be a thief. Who is it? So does he predate Locke?
Isn't Zidane the guy from Final Fantasy IX? No. You see, Locke is a treasure hunter.
Fair enough. But yeah, that's disregarding Locke.
No, he's a treasure hunter, man.
Fair enough, but...
Completely different.
I mean, again, I assume they're trying to say they're the main protagonist, e.g. the lead character. Or, i.e. the lead character. But... yeah, I call bullshit on that. X-Death is the first antagonist in the series to alter his world drastically during the course of his game. That's debatable, too.
Yeah.
I mean, Chaos had a pretty big effect on the world.
Guess
The wind became wild.
You see, that happened before the game.
Well, but it's a time loop, though, so it happens during the game as well.
Now you're getting into...
Come on, the sea became wild, the wind stopped, and the earth began to rot. Chaos affected his world.
The time loop is weird, though.
I know, but I mean, you literally set it off by beating Garland. So he clearly does it during the game.
Yeah, you set it off. I don't know. Time loop is confusing.
Sephiroth has appeared in over a dozen Final Fantasy games.
Yep.
That's... wow. Has he? Really? In actual Final Fantasy games?
Why?
Because Kingdom Hearts doesn't count. That's not a Final
I
Fantasy
assume this
game.
includes spin-offs, too. Like,
if it's got Final Fantasy in the title, it counts. But
and doesn't include the mobile games, because like every character's those. And then Dissidia Final Fantasy.
Yeah, hold on. I clicked on the Sephiroth page to see if I can get a list.
Father, this mind flow is really freaking annoying.
I'm sorry, I didn't make you fight him.
Well, I gotta find him to get past him.
Look, I'm not telling you not to fight him, but I'm just saying it's not my fault. I mean, unless
I
you
haven't gotten to
want to say it's my
frickin'
fault that you're playing this game, which yes, I'll take credit. I'm the one who suggested, hey, why don't you play this game?
Been
I thought it'd be
20
fun. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
It's been 20 minutes, I haven't gotten to the second set of cubes.
Well, we've had some trivia.
You're gonna be done with trivia before I get to the second set of cubes.
That's okay.
We must do better next time.
You must do better next time. But how about you help me actually defeat my enemies?
Wait, there's a game called Zack's Digital Mind Wave.
Zack's Digital Mind? What?
Apparently. He's in Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII.
Ah.
So this only lists Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, and then Digital Mind Wave. Oh, other appearances. Final Fantasy V as a loading screen cameo.
I was not in the original.
No, clearly not. I don't think it's in the PlayStation version either. Which would have come after Final Fantasy VII, but I don't recall anything like that.
Brother, this is going terribly.
Dissidia Final Fantasy, Dissidia 012 Final Fantasy,
All the
Dissidia Final
Dissidias.
Fantasy NT, Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia,
That's on the mobile game.
Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy,
Another spin-off.
Picked Logica Final Fantasy,
Okay.
Final Fantasy Airborne Brigade, Final Fantasy Artnix,
What
Final
all
Fantasy
has to-
Record Keeper, Final Fantasy
Oh, that's
Brave
mobile game.
Exvius, Mobius
Mobile
Final
game.
Fantasy, World of Final
Mobile game?
Fantasy. I forgot about World of Final Fantasy. We have that game.
But a lot of extra on that.
Final Fantasy Trading Card Game, and Triple Triad.
Triple Triad is a freaking card game and
Well, that's fine. This isn't necessarily. This is just a list of his appearances. Period. That wasn't.
No,
necessarily
in one of the Final Fantasy games, it's a card game.
Oh,
I mean, maybe it had a separate release.
yeah. I'm thinking it probably did. Because otherwise, I don't think they would have listed it. Anyway, I gotta go back to this. We'll get back to the trivia. Oh, no, I take that back. Apparently it is the Final Fantasy anthology port of Final Fantasy V. A 2D sprite of Sephiroth, modeled after style sprites, occasionally appears in the loading section of the Final Fantasy anthology port.
I've never seen that.
To be fair, it's been a while since we played it.
True. I don't remember anything on the loading screens.
I don't remember loading screens, period, though.
Yeah.
Okay,
Other than
anyways.
Fading to black.
Oh, here's Sephiroth's non-Final Fantasy appearances. Kingdom Hearts,
Like every Kingdom Hearts game.
Itadaki Street,
What?
Urguys, God Bless the Ring, Puzzle and Dragons, Monster Strike, Yokai Watch, Wibble Wobble, and Super Smash
Yokai
Bros.
Watch.
Ultimate.
Yeah.
But yeah, hold on. I gotta get back to this other game. Where was it? Digital Mind Wave. Zack's Digital Mind Wave. The Digital Mind Wave, often abbreviated as DMW, is the limit break system in Crisis. Oh, okay, it's not a game. It's a mechanic
Oh,
within
so
a game.
I guess Triple Triad is just listing his card in that
Well,
game.
no, I mean, Digital Mind Wave wasn't listed in the
Oh.
in that list of games.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
well, I mean, what was that? Crisis Core?
Yeah.
I think that might just be a sub-article under the Crisis Core list. Anyway, back to trivia.
We must do better next time.
Cloud Strife's and Sephiroth's imagery were respectively derived from the famous Japanese samurai martial artist rivals Miyamoto Musashi and Sasaki Kojiro. I did not know that.
Me neither.
Squall Leonhardt is the first character in the series to use a gunblade. Yeah, because there's so many.
Yeah,
so
obviously.
common. Did you die again? Please tell me you didn't
No.
die again. Okay. But anyway, back to Final Fantasy character trivia. A cosplaying pianist known as Piano Squall cosplays as Squall Leonhardt during his charity concerts.
Okay.
Squall and Renoa appear in a technical demo for the PlayStation 2 where they reenact the waltz scene from Final Fantasy VIII to showcase the console's graphical capability.
Yeah, didn't they mention how?
Yeah.
It's weird to mention that twice.
Well, they didn't mention the characters, though.
I know, but...
Rydia is the first character to age significantly during the course of a game.
I mean, yeah.
Fusoya was the first fully non-human playable character.
Yeah, because he's Moon Man.
Yeah, but he's humanoid to be sure. He ain't like Red 13.
Okay, well, Jack is dead.
Did you just fall?
Yep, I fell off the floor incarnate, but I'm alive somehow.
This looks like the skeleton of something. Like he's got bones and stuff sticking out of it.
Can you guys maybe attack this thing, like, at all?
He looked like Octodad there for a minute.
I'm just backing away from a mind flare.
It's Jack versus Octodad.
Octodad. Nobody suspects a thing. Mind flare dad.
That'd be pretty rough.
That's my new D&D character. It's a mind flare that tells dad jokes. Unfortunately, I have not mastered the art of the dad joke. So I guess that'll have to be your next D&D character.
Well, my ranger does have a pal who's a mind flayer.
Does he make dad jokes?
That's canon. We haven't done the dad jokes yet, but I do have a mind flayer pal.
Mind flare pal. Oh, frick that. Guys, get the mind flare.
Okay, would you like some more character trivia? Final Fantasy character trivia, dig it! Richard Highwind was the first Dragoon seen in the series.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry, Ricard Highwind.
And now,
Highwind, that's an airship.
And now that's a commonly used name associated with Dragoons. There's Kane Highwind, the Highwind, which is Sid's ship, but Sid plays like a Dragoon.
Oh, he was Gareth in Final Fantasy.
Oh, I destroyed one of the statues.
Uh-oh.
Where's the other two? Why is everything shaking? Is something happening and there's like a big elevator? Am I going up? Am I supposed...
Wait, there's a Final Fantasy II novel?
I guess.
It's probably in Japanese, though.
Do I have to escape the floating continent? Should I wait for Shadow?
I think we overdid it. Who cares?
Oh.
At least we learned something useful.
Yeah. The darkness we sensed is gone.
Bingo. Let's smash some more steps.
So we're breaking the statues. Oh gosh dang, that's a one path?
Do you want to wrap this up and start a new episode, or you want to keep going?
No,
That means there's probably 2 more.
Yeah, that took me way too long to get back to that first mind flow. Let's wrap this up. So thanks for watching this episode of the Game Night. Like and subscribe, because I'm very simple and funny.
Nobody suspects a thing.
Good night.
Gabba the game night, Gabba the game night, Gabba the game night, yay. Come on and watch him play games every other day. If you subscribe now, you won't miss out on any of the action. So come on, click that subscribe button.